Hey guys, and welcome back to another video on the subject of lucid dreaming. Today we're talking about my favorite thing, which is mugwort. And mugwort will give you much more vivid dreams and possibly lucid dreams, and it also has effects that you can feel when you're awake that are pretty cool. There's a few things you should know before you start using mugwort though, and that is the biggest and most important one, that some people are allergic to it. So if you're allergic to mugwort, you better figure that out before you start drinking it and taking massive doses of it. So start off small, do an allergy test, something like that. And the other things you need to consider or you need to look out for, and I'm going to help you try to avoid, are the three problems I've run into the most with mugwort. And that's it being too weak and nothing's happening, it being too strong and it feels like you're asleep for about 3 days, and maybe you're only asleep for 7 hours, but you're in dreams that are just super vivid and going on for a long time. And that's really fun, but it might freak some people out. And the other is it's working and it's giving you more vivid dreams, but it's a diuretic, so it can make you have to keep getting up to pee in the middle of the night and interrupting your sleep. So today we're going to address all those problems and how to avoid them. So you can probably find mugwort growing near you. It grows in a lot of places, and here's some that I picked myself recently. You can see on one side of the leaf it's much darker than the other, and on the underside it's pretty fuzzy and fluffy. Unfortunately, I don't have any that's fresh to show you, but the shape of the leaf, you can find online better leaves that are, more intact, but it's kind of like looks like a flame almost. The most common ways to use it are to smoke it, which is simple, you just chop it up fine, like maybe a little finer than I have here, and roll it up and smoke it. And another common way is to put it in a tea. And it comes in different colors too. So like here's some mugwort I bought from a friend that you can see is kind of light in color. And here's some that I bought from a local herb store that's much darker. And you can see it's kind of fluffy and fuzzy and has these little bits of wood in there. And this tastes really mild, this one, and it's really good. And this one tastes really bitter, more like wormwood, which is a relative of mugwort. So the most common way to use it is probably a tea, but in my experience, the best way to use it is to drink a tea and to smoke it at the same time. Now, of course, you could make a tea out of mugwort by just taking the loose leaf and putting it in a tea ball like this. And then, normally you would close that up and just pour some hot water over it until it's steeped for a few minutes and then it's done. But that's probably going to be pretty weak, and you're going to need to pour enough water into the teacup to cover the tea ball, and it's going to, in my opinion, be a waste of mugwort and also probably keep you up peeing all night. So I'm going to try to show you a better way to do this that doesn't involve needing to use so much water. It'll make a stronger tea so you can use less mugwort, and it won't keep you peeing as much. So to do it, we're going to take a normal sized teacup and fill it up with a normal size amount of water for a cup of tea. Like that. And then instead of pouring it into the tea ball, we're going to just pour all that water into a saucepan. Take the loose leaf and pour it directly into the water. And then put a lid on it and wait for it to boil for a while. And then we're going to let it boil until we've boiled off about 1/2 or 2/3 of the water. So mugwort is apparently not very heat sensitive because you can smoke it and you can boil it down. This just started boiling. You can boil it down until the water is almost black, and when you drink it, it will be just as effective. Okay, so now I'd normally just strain it. And then you can get something like a spoon or something and just kind of like squeeze out the water of what ends up in the strainer. And that got it down to about a shot. And we started with this much water. And if you normally would steep it, it would be maybe 5 or 6 shades lighter than that. So to be honest, I think I boiled this one a little too long, because I took the lid off for the purpose of the video, just to make the water evaporate faster. And I'd normally leave the lid on. And now we got, significantly less than I'd normally drink. Maybe twice that would be good. But anyway, basically that's the process. I got a little hasty there. And then wait until you're about to go to sleep and drink this right before bed. And then smoke mugwort. You can just roll it up like a normal joint or a cigarette and smoke that. And then go to sleep. And make sure you're hydrated that day, because mugwort is a diuretic. So even if you get it down to, like about this much, you're probably still going to have to get up to pee at least once in the middle of the night. But if you started with, like a full cup of tea, you're going to get up to pee a lot in the middle of the night. And now another thing I'll do is add a little of this blue lotus tincture and a little of this camellia, which is also known as Mexican dream herb, and drink that with the mugwort. Alright, so now I've got 2 cautionary tales for you. I was going to tell these in another video, but I'm going to just keep them short, because I think it's important that all this goes in one video. First one was back about 6.5 years ago in Hawaii. I found some mugwort with a friend, and we decided to make some tea with it. And we were trying to drink tea with mugwort for a couple nights in a row, and nothing was really happening, nothing too extreme. And I was getting kind of frustrated. So one night I took a bunch of mugwort. We found a big bunch of it, so we just had tons. So I took a bunch of it and I just sprinkled it all over my bed, all in my sheets. I made a bunch of really strong tea with it that I started drinking in the afternoon until bed, and I started smoking a bunch of mugwort multiple times throughout the day before bed. And that night I went to sleep, and I felt like I was asleep for about 3 days. Even though it was only 7 hours, the dreams were so intense and so vivid, I felt like I was out for about 3 days. And my friend, he had a similar experience where with him, I think he said it was closer to like 11 days. He felt like he was asleep, and he was not enjoying it. He was kind of freaking out. Like he thought he was in like the movie Waking Life, like that type of situation where he was just never going to wake up. And I was pretty confident I was going to wake up, so I was having a really good time being asleep or feeling like I was dreaming for 3 days. But it was really intense. So in the dream, I dreamt a normal dream. I wasn't lucid. And in that dream, it felt like I lived through about a normal day. And then at the end of that dream, I laid down and went to sleep and went into another dream. And in this dream, I became lucid. And I, had this lucid dream that felt like it lasted hours. And I eventually got bored with it. And I kind of forgot that I was dreaming. So I just went to sleep in that dream. And I went into another dream where I wasn't lucid. It was just another normal dream. And it was like the movie Inception, where I would wake up into the lucid dream again and become lucid again, and then go back asleep and go down into the third dream, and then wake up into the second, then the first, then the second, then the first, then the second, then the third, then the second, then the third. And just going up and down throughout all these dreams, where I would kind of like wake up in one and fall asleep in another and go into another one. And it was really interesting. But it's something that a lot of people probably would not like to experience, I'd imagine. So that was obviously an extreme case and kind of something that maybe many people might consider to be stupid to do, to take that much mugwort. Just wanted to let you know that's a possibility. But another time I did meet a really crazy guy at a mystery school, and he was an Australian, and he had mugwort growing near him in Australia apparently. And he said he used to make a tea with a bunch of it and boil it down till it was black, and he would drink that. And we made some tea that night with some mugwort we found growing, and I went to bed, and it was pretty cool, like normal vivid mugwort type of dreams. But then right at the end, I dreamt that I was being attacked by a shark, and it was a really super vivid dream where I could feel every detail. It wasn't like a normal nightmare, which is kind of like still cushy and dreamy, this was extreme. Like I could feel everything tearing and feel every tooth and see all this, feel the feeling of suffocating underwater and see all the my blood floating in the water around me, and my body parts ripping off and floating past me, and waking up in total panic mode. Like it was very real feeling. So that's another cautionary tale. If you're going to experiment with a lot of mugwort, I just know it can make things really vivid, whether it be good or bad. And most of my experience in the past 7 years have been fairly neutral, and the mugwort dreams are typically a lot weirder than normal dreams and sometimes more uncomfortable. But overall, it's all been worth it, and it's all been a lot of fun. Just wanted to let you know, to start small and work your way up and find what's comfortable for you.